All right, so today we're making pizza. Now, let me start off with, I am not somebody who works in a kitchen. I have never made pizza for a living. I'm just a guy who likes to make pizza and likes to eat pizza. Now, what you need to decide first of all is what type of pizza do you want to make? Now, my preferred style is New York style. I like it thin, crispy. Pepperoni is my typical topping. What I've done is probably made 50 to 60 pizzas in the last 6 months. What I tried to do is start with just a basic recipe of just a pepperoni pizza so I could make it over and over again to find out, do I know how to make pizza? Like I said, New York style is my preferred method. I've been to New York a bunch of times. I've eaten at Difara, John's a Bleaker, Joe's, Scars. Those are my types of, my favorite types of places. Just a regular thin New York style pizza. So today what we're gonna do is make my version of a New York pizza. And you can use the same recipe whether you're using an outdoor oven or an indoor oven. I will show you how I prepare my pizza for indoor cooking. What I'm going to do is start off with King Arthur red flour. It's 12.7% protein content. You want a high protein content to form the gluten. We're using salt. I have table salt. You can use sea salt, kosher salt. I have yeast. We have water, and then we have tomatoes. I've tried a bunch of different brands. This is Bianco, Di Napoli. You can use anything that you want to. These are supposedly one of the best tomatoes that you can use. So these are the main ingredients that we're using. Obviously for your sauce, you can add stuff like fresh garlic, salt, sugar, oregano, Italian seasoning, whatever you want to. But these are the basics that you need to get started with doing a New York pizza. Now, besides just the ingredients, to me there's some basic tools that you need. And we're gonna go over the tools next. So here are two items that I would definitely invest in if I'm making pizza at home. First is the pizza peel. You use this to slide this in the oven and shimmy the pizza off. I had a wood one. To me, I found that the wood stuck. The pizza would stick to the wood more than it does with this metal one. So I like the metal one better than the wood. It's your personal preference. But for the times that I used the wood, the pizza would constantly stick to the peel and then there'd be a big mess in the oven. So that's the first one. Second is the peel so you can turn the pizza. If you're using an outdoor oven where you have a flame, this you definitely need because you can just turn the pizza, keep turning it. That way you're not gonna burn your hands. It's just overall a great investment at 20 bucks. That's what I paid for this, is $20. So these are the first two things that I would definitely invest in if you're thinking about making pizza at home. You want to do it right. So another item that you need is the ladle. You need the ladle for the sauce to put it on there correctly, and you'll do the circular motion to spread the sauce all over your dough. Usually I use about one ladle, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on the size of the pizza. So invest in a ladle. Those are about $5 at Ross, I think. All right, so my next item is a cheese grater. This is a necessity if you want to make pizza and do it right at home. I'm always using the Galbani mozzarella cheese, whole milk, classic melt and stretch. This is about $6 to $7 at the store. This obviously is not mozzarella, but you don't want to use this pre-packaged, pre-shredded cheese because it has emulsifiers in it, so it stops it from clumping. You don't want to use that. Your pizza is just going to be greasy. The cheese will separate. It's just overall a bad experience. So always use the mozzarella like this, where it's not shredded. You do it your own using this. Definitely you need these items. Next item, pizza cutter. You can't cut the pizza with a knife. You need a pizza cutter so you can get a firm grip and cut your slices so they're perfect. You definitely have to get a pizza cutter. They're relatively inexpensive, probably 10 bucks. The next item that you need, a digital scale. When it comes to baking, everything is measured in grams. You're not using cups of flour, you're using grams. I'm always using 400 grams of flour, 228 grams of water, 10 to 12 grams of salt, 6 grams of sugar, and then roughly 10 grams of olive oil when I'm making my dough. But you have to measure everything. When I first started, I was just using cups and throwing flour into a bowl, not measuring anything, and the dough never turned out even remotely close. Once I started measuring everything by grams, it made a huge difference. So definitely invest in the scale, digital scale. You can pick one of those up from Walmart for, again, probably $10. Now the last item that you need is the pizza steel, or a baking steel. You can use a stone or steel. The steel retains more heat. And if you want the crispy bottom that doesn't flop, you have to get this. If you want the leopard spotting on the bottom of the pizza, this is gonna help you get that. But you're definitely gonna get a crispier crust. It's not gonna be soggy. If you invest in one of these. I picked this up from Cost Plus World Market for about 30 bucks. You can find them online. Some of them are more expensive, maybe $60, $70. This one has worked fine. So I definitely pick up one of these as opposed to a stone. The steel is just way better. It keeps the heat longer, and it gives you a crispier crust on the bottom. So these are basically the items that you need to get ready to make your pizza. I already told you the measurements that I used earlier. 400 grams of flour, 228 water, 10 to 12 salt, sugar about 6, and then olive oil about 10. So what I'm going to do is make the dough, and then we will make the pizza. So I've already done a review on this mixer. There's a video that I posted earlier, but this is the Delish by Dash. I think I paid $30 to $40 at Ross. I do have a new mixer that I'm going to try out this week. I just want to get one last use out of this one before I switch. This one definitely, you get what you pay for. 30, 40 bucks. It does mix up the dough well. I should say it mixes it up. I don't know if it's well. The machine kind of struggles at times. I typically keep it on speed 1 just to make it easy for the machine. And I probably mix it for 2 to 3 minutes just to get everything incorporated. And then what I do is I just take the dough, put it in this bowl, put it off to the side and let it rest. Usually I let it rest 30 to 45 minutes before I start kneading the dough and getting it ready to really chill out, and I let it sit for a few hours. So what I do is just mix everything, take the dough, let it sit for 30 to 45 minutes, let it rest after the initial mix. Then a couple hours later, I'll knead the dough, let it rise, and then what I do is split it into 3 dough balls. Typically the dough balls are about 240 grams each. which makes about a 12-inch pizza. For the outdoor solo pie prime that I have, you can only do 12-inch pizzas. You can't do a 14, 16, or 18. If I would have known that, I probably would have bought the biggest one that they have. But just starting out, I bought that one, and it's about a 12-inch pizza. So that's why sometimes the pizzas, they don't necessarily look like a New York slice because it's too small. If it was 14 to 18 inches, it would definitely look more like a New York pizza. But this is it, man. This is all I do. I'm going to start mixing everything up, and then we'll have the dough. I won't record the video because the mixer is too loud. You won't be able to hear anything. But I will mix it up, and I'll show you afterwards how that is. So let's start with the flour. Again, we have King Arthur bread flour. We're going to do 400 grams. I got my scale and I got my bowl. So what you do is put the bowl on here. It's 584 grams. Zero it out. And then all you do is start adding your flour. I do this in 2 batches just because the bowl's small. So I'll try to do my first one, get it right around 200. $99, so 201. So I'll do another bowl full of flour, get another 200 grams, and then we'll start mixing in the ingredients. But that's simply how you do it. You just measure everything out, makes it nice and easy. Your dough is very consistent each time that you make it. That way you can kind of improve on it if you want to. Change the salt, sugar, olive oil if you want to, but I stay consistent. Like I said, I've made probably 50 to 60 pizzas in the past 6 months, just trying to perfect this dough and make it simple. For myself, I watched a ton of YouTube videos. One of the guys that I watched was Charlie Anderson, and the guy who has good pizza in Cleveland. I watched a lot of his stuff. Ken G, I think the guy's name is. I watched some of his videos as well. It really, I just told myself, man, it's going to take, probably, 200 to 500 pizzas before I'm actually really good at it. I think I hit my stride really after like 20. And I said, okay, these are starting to get decent. I still have a long way to go, but from the first one to the 20th, it's night and day. And the first ones weren't even pizza. It wasn't even dough. It was nothing. It was just a clump of white that didn't cook. It didn't rise and didn't do anything. So I just say keep practicing. But I'm just sticking with one type of dough for now and one type of pizza till I perfect it to it's 100% where I want it to be. Then what I can do is branch off and change things and make different types of pizzas, which I have a new pizza that I'm going to try probably this week. And we'll see if we can record that video as well. But this is just the basics on how I do my New York style pizza. So now I'm at my other 200 grams. I'm going to add in about 10 to 12 grams of salt. $12 and a half. And now we're going to do our sugar. I'll try to do 6 grams. So we're going to be at 219. $219. Perfect. Now what we do is put all the dry ingredients there. I have to add my yeast, and then we're ready to go, and we'll add some water and olive oil. So here's the yeast. I'm doing about 2 grams of yeast. And now we're going to add the 228 of water and 10 of olive oil. All right, here we go with the water. 228. 230. We can take a little bit out if we want to try to get it exactly 228. Let's see, 228. All right, there we go. Now what we're gonna do is add a little olive oil. And we're gonna go with about 10 grams. We need to be at 238. $239, $240 is what it is. So now we will start mixing, and I will let you know once we're done mixing. I'll let you take a look at the dough. So here you go, the dough is mixing. We're just incorporating all the ingredients. It's kind of loud, so bear with me. After this, we're gonna let it rest for 30 minutes. We'll let it rest for 30 minutes, and then what we'll do is knead the dough. So there you go. This is just how you make the dough for your New York pizza at home. All right, now that the dough is rested, I kneaded the dough for about 5 minutes. Now we're gonna let the dough sit for about 3 hours, 4 hours. Let it rise, and then we'll divide it into 3 balls, which would probably be 240-ish each. There'll be 3 pizzas that we make out of this dough. We're gonna let it rise. All right, it's been a few hours. Here's the dough. It's risen a lot, you can see. So now we'll divide it into 3 different dough balls. All right, we're weighing the dough at 735.5 divided by 3. That's how you get the weight for each ball. So here's the dough. It's been resting in the refrigerator for about 2 days now. And you can see there it is. The dough is done. We're ready to stretch it and make our pizza dough. So we're gonna stretch it and then add all the ingredients, which will be the sauce, the cheese, and then some pepperoni. So now what I'm gonna do is grate the cheese. I use wax paper underneath because I find it's a little bit easier to clean up. And I just basically take the wax paper, throw it in the trash when I'm done, and it's one less thing to have to clean. So we will shred the cheese. So here we go, we will shred the cheese. Again, it's important to use this style of cheese, not the pre-packaged stuff, because you'll get a better melt this way, shredding your own cheese. They have the anti-caking agents, so it keeps it from clumping together, but you get to me, it's not a good melt. It's more greasy when you do it that way. So I always use this type of cheese and freshly grate it all the time. Real simple, fresh cheese. So we're gonna stretch the dough, put a little bit of flour. What I do is drop that on there, and I'll use a little napkin or paper towel, get the excess oil off. And we'll work from the inside out. Just work the dough a little bit. Get it kind of flat, kind of get the shape that you're looking for. And I have a little bit of too much oil there. Pat off the extra. When you're working with the flour, it's going to soak up some of that anyways. So I'll put a little bit more down here. The shape doesn't really bother me too much because as I'm stretching the dough, it's going to take the shape that I want. So now I'm going to stretch it, get it nice and thin, and then we'll put it on the peel. All I'm going to do is stretch it. I just use this technique, just stretching it with my hands and knuckles and just work the dough and let gravity basically stretch it for you. I'm going to continue to work this, but you get the idea. So here's our sauce. We got some garlic. We have the tomatoes. We're going to add in lots of basil. And we're going to do a little bit of salt and then blend it up. All right, now we're ready to make the pizza. The dough is stretched. We're going to put down a little semolina on the peel. This is going to keep it from sticking. And it should go right into the oven. If we have to make some adjustments, we can. Here's the dough. So we can put this on there. It's a little bit big, that's fine. Just gonna slide off. So might put a little bit more semolina on here just in case this dough's a little bit big. It should be good. It should be moving just fine. More semolina. Is it moving? Yeah. Put a little bit more on the back end here. All right, now what we're gonna do is get the sauce. Ladle the sauce right in the middle. Just do a little circular motion. I do a little bit of sauce in the beginning. You can always add as much as you want. So I add some here. Just a little bit more. That looks pretty good. We have our cheese. I'll put the cheese down. Let's start off with just a little bit. You can always add. So we got cheese. Looking pretty good. That up there, and then we have the pepperoni. We'll try to space this out as good as we can. Sometimes I use the cup pepperoni. This is just Hormel, regular, like New York style pepperoni. So there we go. Now what we're gonna do is put it in the oven. I've preheated the oven for about 45 minutes to 500 with the steel in there. Here's the pizza. You can hear the crunch. Here's a side profile. It's thin. Here's the bottom. It's well done. So New York style at home. This is only about a 12-inch pizza, so you have to give it that most New Yorks are at 14, 16, 18 inches, but good crust, very thin. It's firm, doesn't flop, great bottom, it's perfectly cooked. So there you have it, New York style pizza at home.